No one likes the feeling of being exploited. When someone you love or deeply care about in both romantic and platonic relationships seems to always want something from you, it can be disheartening, especially if they don't reciprocate your feelings. You may feel disillusioned and gradually lose your self-worth. In short, they make you feel very hurt. It could be someone demanding too many privileges but being too busy to help you in return. Or they might bury you with their troubles and expect your support and advice 24/7. Yet when you encounter difficulties, they won't show up or seem uninterested in your troubles. Perhaps you feel your partner is more interested in your physicality rather than just hanging out and enjoying conversations with you. All of these suggest that you are in a relationship with someone who likes to take advantage. When you feel like you're in a one-sided relationship, it's time to introspect about the true value this relationship brings. Stoicism teaches us that not everyone you meet will stay, and not every relationship is worth your time and energy. Learn to raise the red flag and activate your self-warning system against the signs of a toxic relationship to protect yourself and preserve your spiritual values. Stoicism is not just a philosophy of life, but also a way of life, helping us to be proud of our ability to stand firm against life's storms. Most importantly, remember that your worth doesn't depend on the judgment or acceptance of others, but on how you perceive and confront yourself. Before we begin, I want you to commit to watching this video to the end, because all the content in this video is very important. Let's dedicate our focus and mental strength to this journey until we reach the end. Number 1, making you feel guilty. Have you ever felt the weight of a gaze, the heaviness of words when they squeeze your heart as if it were being strangled in the arms of sadness? In a relationship where you are not a support but merely a springboard for someone else's desires and selfishness, being accused and made to feel guilty becomes one of the most cunning and toxic weapons. However, Stoic philosophy has illuminated the dark path and pointed out an escape route, a new promising direction toward inner freedom and peace. People are not disturbed by things, but by the view they take of them. Epictetus's words resonate like a melodious tune in the mind and soothe turbulent emotions. Why do we let the thoughts and meanings imposed by others dominate our lives? How can we maintain ourselves in the storm, not swept away by the currents of emotions others create? First, let's introspect. Do these feelings of guilt truly reflect my true self? Or are they just shadows of unjust expectations and demands? Marcus Aurelius faced the storms of power and life's challenges, reminding us that the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. In the pursuit of peace, we need to learn to focus our attention on what matters most to ourselves, the values and principles we set for ourselves, not on others' unwarranted desires. As you begin to reassess your emotions through the lens of freedom and choice, you not only liberate yourself from the shackles of guilt, but also find the strength to face and overcome any challenge. Now, are you willing to look fear in the face and step through it, no longer bound by the unfair sense of guilt, and proceed on your path with a strong heart and personal determination? This is not just a spiritual journey, but also a commitment to oneself, a firm decision to live a life not governed by the judgments and expectations of others. It's a promise to yourself for a future where you hold the key to happiness and freedom. Number 2, persistent lack of respect. Let's delve into the story of Jack, a character who's not very fortunate and constantly receives disrespect from his colleagues. In his company, Jack feels belittled. His opinions are not valued, and he's even ignored whenever he tries to contribute. The feeling of not being respected damages his self-esteem, and from there, Jack begins to question his self-worth. In a relationship, the lack of respect can manifest in various forms, from not listening when the other person is speaking to ignoring or dismissing their opinions. This disrespectful behavior not only affects the recipient's morale, but also destroys the foundation of mutual trust and respect in the relationship. So, what should Jack do in this case? As Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Firstly, Jack needs to recognize that his self-worth is not dependent on others' evaluations. He can practice restraint and not let negative emotions dictate his actions. Jack should also assertively and firmly express that he desires and deserves respect, while maintaining his composure calmly and patiently. As for each of us, let's pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and feel that respect is not just a vague concept, but a solid foundation for every healthy relationship, a guiding light for souls seeking genuine connection. When we truly respect each other, a miracle happens. We not only invest trust and respect in their souls, but also paint a picture of the dignified, self-respecting self we always crave to share. Decisive moments with loved ones sometimes resonate strongly, leaving an inexplicable sense of loneliness in our hearts. Through the lens of Stoic philosophy, let's explore together how we can embrace independence fully and find the guiding light in the darkness of loneliness. Number 3. Absence in critical moments. Imagine a tree that only provides shade when the sun is shining brightly, but disappears when storm clouds roll in. This analogy resembles the relationship between human beings. In good times, when life is peaceful, they are there, enjoying the shared light and reaping the benefits of the relationship. But when faced with difficulties, they vanish. This not only exposes the nature of the relationship, but also challenges us to find the inner strength within ourselves. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, once said, "The happy life is a life that is in harmony with its nature." In this context, happiness cannot depend on people whose presence is conditional. A question arises: are you seeking strength from external sources or from within yourself? Stoic philosophy teaches that self-reliance and autonomy are the keys to facing any challenge. When someone is absent in crucial moments, it may be a difficult lesson, but also an opportunity for us to develop our inner strength and explore our capabilities. What matters is not the presence of others, but how we deal with their absence. Do you allow that absence to create a void within you, or do you fill that void with self-reliance and the ability to overcome it? Recognizing that contentment and happiness cannot be taken away by anyone or anything outside of ourselves, we begin to live according to the true essence of Stoic philosophy. Remember that although you may feel lonely when someone is not by your side when you need them most, it is in those moments that you learn to stand on your own 2 feet. Their absence, like the shade disappearing in a storm, ultimately allows the sunlight of self-sufficiency and autonomy to shine through. Number 4. Disregard for your needs or feelings. Imagine our emotions as a garden where each emotion is a beautiful flower. In a situation where someone only uses you without caring for you, it's like allowing only one flower to bloom, while other flowers, your true needs and emotions, are overlooked and not nurtured. In such a scenario, the behavior that makes you feel guilty is not only a harmful act, but also evidence that the other person doesn't genuinely care about your mental garden. When faced with behavior that makes you feel guilty, ask yourself, is my mental garden being influenced by external conditions? And am I allowing others to determine the value of this garden through how they treat me? The answers will help you identify and protect your mental space from negative impacts. Throughout this process, remember that we have the right to control how we care for and protect our mental garden. Stoicism teaches us not to be unfeeling or indifferent to our emotions, but to learn to accept and nurture them consciously, refusing to let them be harmed by others' indifference. How will you care for and protect your mental garden in challenging moments? How will you reaffirm your worth when facing challenges? Leave your thoughts in the comments below this video. These are questions that each of us needs to find answers to in the journey of nurturing our own diverse and rich gardens. Number 5. Constant competition. Imagine you're in a marathon race with no finish line. You're running not for the joy of running, not for health or any personal gain, but simply to outpace others. When you realize someone is using you and doesn't care about you, especially in a relationship based on continuous competition, it's important to ask yourself, what am I racing to achieve, and who is truly benefiting from this competition? Unhealthy competition can turn relationships into power games devoid of mutual understanding or respect. Stoicism teaches us about the importance of living a virtuous life, where the ultimate goal is not to defeat others, but to conquer oneself, weaknesses, fears, and self-importance. Use this time to reflect on your true worth, not dependent on outdoing others, but on your progress compared to yesterday. The question you should ask yourself is not how many people have I surpassed, but how have I grown? As you start evaluating yourself based on personal standards and your progress, not only will you find peace and happiness, but you'll also create a space for healthy relationships where competition isn't central. As Seneca once said, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. By reflecting on Stoic philosophy entirely and focusing on self-development and living a virtuous life, we not only become stronger in dealing with those who merely use us without caring for us, but we also become leaders in creating a healthier, more balanced environment for everyone around us. Remember Epictetus's advice. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. You have the power to redefine your journey and reclaim your self-worth. Counts use Stoic philosophy as a tool to navigate through situations, from those who merely use you to the daily challenges of life, and become the protagonist of your own life. In life, we often encounter relationships where some focus solely on competition and use us without care. However, Stoic philosophy provides us with valuable approaches to deal with such situations. While ceaseless competition may make us feel tense and anxious, the Stoic inclination is toward promoting cooperation and unanimity. Simultaneously, setting boundaries and maintaining self-respect helps us avoid falling into a state of personal disregard. More importantly, I want to express deep gratitude to the audience for taking the time to watch our video. Please continue to support us by liking, sharing this video, and subscribing to the channel to not miss out on other insightful content about Stoic philosophy. In Stoic philosophy, we see the contrast between ceaseless competition and personal indifference. This is an important moment to pause and reflect on how we create value in our own lives as well as in our relationships with others. Before we move on to the next lesson, we want to extend our thanks for your support in watching our video. Your presence has provided invaluable support to us. Please continue to support us by liking, sharing, and watching the video to the end to explore more on this topic. Now focus and shift your attention to the next type of person. Number 6, lack of personal interest. Imagine a conversation as a bustling two-way street of thoughts, experiences, and emotions. In a healthy relationship, this street is alive with the exchange of mutual care and concern. However, when faced with someone who only wants to take advantage of you, this street turns into a one-way road. In the modern world, the lack of personal concern from others is not just a simple barrier in relationships, but also a profound psychological challenge for oneself. Marcus Aurelius taught us not to rely on others to determine our self-worth. When someone doesn't invest care into our lives, emotions and needs, it can be an opportunity for us to demonstrate independence and self-reliance. Imagine being in a relationship where the other person never cares about you, never listens to your thoughts and feelings, and always sees you merely as a tool to achieve their personal goals. In such moments, feelings of abandonment and lack of appreciation can pervade the mind. However, Stoic philosophy teaches us not to let such situations undermine our confidence and autonomy. Instead, we can see it as an opportunity to focus on self-development and not rely on others' approval. Ask yourself, why should my significance depend on others, and what can I learn and develop from that absence? As Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. We may not change others, but we can change how we react and handle challenging situations. That is the true power of autonomy and self-improvement. Number 7. Failure to fulfill promises. The act of making and breaking promises can be likened to a stage performance, where words are the actors and actions are the abandoned script. In the world of Stoic philosophy, ethics and motivation are built on patience and responsibility, and failing to fulfill promises is a betrayal not only to others, but also to oneself. Someone who uses you without caring for you is likely to make promises they cannot keep. They may create an atmosphere of trust only to unintentionally shatter it later. Breaking these promises is not only disappointing, but also deeply damages the trust and emotions of others. However, according to Stoic teachings, betrayal doesn't just come from others, but also from ourselves if we fail to fulfill our promises. In this situation, Stoicism encourages us to acknowledge and take responsibility for our actions, learn from mistakes, and strive to improve our behavior in the future. Everyone has faced disappointment when a promise is not kept. That feeling can be painful and erode trust in others. How do we handle emotions in such situations? Stoic philosophy offers a different perspective, encouraging us to learn how to accept and regulate our emotions calmly and rationally. Therefore, acknowledging and accepting responsibility for fulfilling promises is a precious opportunity for us to progress further on the path of maturity and ethics. It's not just about learning from mistakes, but also an opportunity to demonstrate loyalty and respect for others while enriching our souls in the process of personal development. In the journey of each individual, promises made between us and others are not just commitments, but also commitments to ourselves and a better human community. What do you think about this topic? Your profound insights could be a guiding light for someone. Please share your thoughts in the comments section below the video. Number 8. Unilateral benefit. Do we often wonder why there are unfair relationships in life where one party enjoys benefits without ever sharing or giving back? This situation is referred to as unilateral benefit, a reality that not only deeply wounds the spirit, but also causes significant financial and emotional loss. So, the question arises, can we face those who only use us without caring for us, without feeling exhausted and powerless? And why do we sometimes feel that way? This is a question we cannot avoid when confronted with such situations. But is there a way for us to rise above and not let ourselves be stranded in a world full of ambition and cruelty? For instance, consider having a friend named Anna, someone who always turns to you when in need of help or borrowing money. Despite your efforts to assist Anna and trusting in their promises, you later realize that Anna never returns the money or fulfills commitments. Anna only comes close to you when in need of personal gain, without caring about your friendship or emotions. In this situation, you feel betrayed and exploited. But with Stoic philosophy, you learn to be self-reliant and not depend on others to feel happiness and worthiness. Looking around, we see those who only use us, exploiting our kindness and trust as a tool to achieve their goals without caring about what we're going through. They may frequently borrow money or resources under promises of repayment, but in reality, they never deliver. Stoic philosophy teaches us that in every situation, self-reliance and not depending on others are the keys to maintaining ourselves. We need patience, understanding, and the ability to be self-reliant to overcome these challenges. Let's uphold our principles and not allow ourselves to become victims of exploitation and disrespect from others. In life, there are times when we have to deal with those who only care about personal gain without ever noticing our feelings. The feeling of being used and abandoned often leaves us feeling hurt and insecure. But from the perspective of Stoic philosophy, these difficult situations can become opportunities for us to find strength and true meaning in life. Let's explore one of the most common negative attitudes and how Stoicism helps us overcome it. Number 9. Emotional manipulation. Manipulating emotions, a form of control and exploitation of the trust and emotions of others to achieve personal goals, is one of the negative attitudes Stoicism teaches us to overcome. Faced with this behavior, a big question arises. How can we protect ourselves from the harm caused by emotional manipulation without losing compassion and understanding? Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This statement resonates as a reminder of the tremendous power of self-control and self-awareness in the battle against emotional manipulation. Recognizing and maintaining one's composure is the most powerful weapon. For example, when a friend intentionally makes you feel guilty for not meeting an unreasonable demand, they are using emotional manipulation as a way to control you. In this situation, recognizing that your choice is based on principles and reason, not on shortcomings or selfishness, is crucial. Dealing with this requires not only resilience, but also understanding and compassion for oneself and others, a core principle of Stoicism. Furthermore, in relationships with others, setting healthy boundaries and knowing when to say no is not only an expression of self-respect, but also a manifestation of self-control. Stoicism teaches us not only about acceptance, but also about the power of making decisions based on moral principles and deep self-awareness. Finally, when faced with emotional manipulation, ask yourself, is this an expression of genuine respect and love? How can I behave ethically and maintain my composure in this situation? These questions not only help us find answers, but also guide us to become the best version of ourselves, loyal to the principles of Stoicism. Through self-control and self-awareness, we not only protect ourselves from the harm caused by emotional manipulation, but also move further, striving for a harmonious and meaningful life, loyal to the spirit of Stoic philosophy. Number 10. Gossip and breach of trust. In its essence, rumors and breaches of trust not only weaken the foundation of relationships, but also signify a profound lack of respect. This emphasizes that once trust is betrayed, restoring it is not only difficult, but also requires time and sincerity. So, what should we do when faced with betrayal and rumors? Stoicism, with its emphasis on controlling what is within our control, proposes a bold solution. Instead of trying to change others, focus on changing how we react to their actions. This suggests an internal approach, where we don't let our emotions be dictated by the actions of others. But how do we apply this when trust is damaged? First, let's ask ourselves if we are allowing this betrayal to define us. Are we letting it dictate how we perceive ourselves and others? Second, recognize the value of building trust with oneself. When you can trust your judgment and reactions, you'll be less affected by others' betrayals. Lastly, remember that every act of betrayal is an opportunity for learning and growth. Stoicism doesn't prioritize avoiding pain, but accepting it as an inevitable part of life, a stepping stone towards maturity and deeper self-understanding. So, how will you choose to deal with betrayal? Will you find strength and freedom in accepting and learning from it, or will you let it shape your identity? Reflect on these questions as they hold the key to growth and self-improvement.